Hello lovely people, this is Kitten from the Kitten and the Goat in Kendal. On this glorious sunny day with a little bit of snow, I'm filming this today. I look after beginner knitters and I detangle all the myths and I sort out all the problems and we get you doing the fun part and creating a project that you enjoy. And today we're going to look at something that a couple of customers have had problems with these past few weeks, and that's casting off. Casting off is a skill all in its own, and it's so frustrating to put hours and hours of work into it and then cast off, try to put it on, and you can't because you've cast off so tightly and you can't work out why. So I'm going to have a little look at casting off, several different ways of casting off, how it works, what you need to look out for, and how you can improve your techniques. So let's have a look, shall we?
Down a little alley in the heart of Kendal town is a tiny independent yarn shop. Welcome to the wonderful world of the Kitten and the Goat.
Hello lovely people, we're here in the summer house this time. It's lovely Alfie helping us out. I just want to take a few moments to explain my hands. You know me, I'm fanatical about my nails. I've normally got great big long coffin shaped nails. Because of my chronic illnesses, I've had quite a nasty bout of psoriasis. We are finally getting on top of it, but my nails look dreadful. It is not the acrylic extensions, it is not anything I do, it is psoriasis under the nail bed. It's just something that happens. We're on treatment and we're winning, but you know, it might take a little while for me to get back to normal. So this is why they look so dreadful at the moment. Can't wait to get my nails back on them. So just excuse the state of them while we heal and grow. But I can still knit, which is the most important thing in the universe. This is double knitting, 4mm needles. I've worked a bit in stocking stitch, which is a row of knit and then a row of purl, so that we can get a clean look at the stitches. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make when they start casting off is that they knit the stitch, they knit the next stitch, and they cast it off. They forget to allow that not only have you got to work the stitch, but in order for it to sit flat like that and not stressed, that stitch has to have enough give in it to reach all the way over the stitch right to the next stitch. This stitch is going to come right the way over to here. So it's absolutely critical that you cast off really, really loosely. Soggy, really sloppy stitches. If you're struggling, go up half a size. I'll try and show you the difference. So you cast on, you knit your 2 stitches and you take this stitch over there. That's fine, you think, but look where it is. It's right there. You need it to be sitting here. So cast loosely, knit loosely, take that over. That was the one we knitted tightly. See, it's sitting on this row and you want it to come over here. So this stitch is loose, this stitch is loose. You see how much sloppier, how much more give you've got in that space there. It's awful to spend hours and hours of work doing this and then you cast it off and it gets all tight and puckered and you don't know what to do because it doesn't fit. So really, really loose. This stitch has to come right over. I don't know, can you see the difference between the first couple of stitches where we did it tightly and the next lots of stitches? This stitch actually comes right over to the next one, so you get a nice flat shape on it. It doesn't distort the work, it doesn't pull it in. Here, you see it in the beginning, those two that we did tightly are pulled in, but these just sit in a line. It takes time and patience, and I say, even if you go up a whole millimetre size, cast off in 5mm if you're struggling, and talk yourself through it the whole time. This is loose. Everything is loose and gentle. This has got to come right over here. See how baggy that stitch is? Oops. How baggy, because it's coming over right. It's got to come right, this has got to come right over here to here. That's your normal casting off. So we're going to have a look at a couple of other interesting ways you can cast off to make a pretty pattern on the end. This time we're going to cast off with a bit of a frill on the top. Now, decide whether you want to cast off working a knit stitch or working a purl stitch. Personally, I like to cast off working a knit stitch. I find it slightly easier. The row before you cast off, you need to work into the front and the back of every stitch, so you double the amount of stitches. I've worked along there. You can see how packed it is. Now, because I'm going to cast off knitting, I'm doubling my stitches on a purl row. Okay. It's a little more awkward to knit front back in a purl, but I don't, I'd prefer that to casting off with a purl. I just left a few on the end so you can see. You purl as you would normally. Gently. Oops, there's a dog outside, and what a twit. Get in your bed, Ed. What a twit. Slide that off the point, catch it the other way round, and increase. So purl, slide that off, put the point in like that. So when I turn round to cast off, I'm going to be knitting, and you've got all that extra stitches. So you still want to cast off reasonably loosely, and you just bobble along the row. It's great fun on the edge of the top of a bag or something. Just go along, cast off every stitch as you would normally. Nice and relaxed. You see, I'm still very relaxed. That's still a big gappy stitch. As you go along, because you've increased the bulk of the stitches, you will force it to crinkle. See how it's starting to go? It'll crinkle like that. It's just another little interesting way you can cast off to make a little bit of something different, a little bit of interest on the edge of the work. When you go, there you go, you see how it's coming now? You can see the thing starting to form. You'll get a loose wavy frill all along the top. I've got one more like this to show you, so let's pull all this out and we'll have a look. Right, I have got one more casting off to make a patterned edge to show you. This one is a little bit more tricky. You cast on 2, you cast off 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then you put that stitch back on there and you cast on 1, 2. We're going to cast off 5, 1, 2. You see how you get a little bobble? 3, 4, 5. And you put that back on there. See, you get a little, well, eyelets really. It's kind of a picot with little eyelets. You could put a contrast ribbon, fine ribbon through that. You just work your way along. So we're going to cast on 1, 2, and then we're going to cast off 1, 2. There's your little hole. 3, 4, 5. Now there's all sorts of things you could do. You could introduce a new colour here. You could put one stripe of new colour there, and you could have a contrast stripe border with your little picot type turnovers. You could put a fine piece of ribbon through there. All sorts of mischief you can get up to. There's one more trick to casting off that I'm going to show you, so I hope you've learnt something. The most important thing is to give the stitch space to come over and sit in it and not bunch everything up together. Okay. Another way of casting off is when you need to finish in a circle. This happens to be a table mat that I'm working on. You will find it on the centre of hats. You'll find it on the base of some baskets, sometimes on the toes of socks. The other pattern will say something like thread yarn through remaining stitches and secure. These are your remaining stitches. What you don't want to do is go straight back along the line. It's easier. Oh, it's much easier, but it squishes them up and it will spoil the look. What you need to do is come around as if you were making a circle. You need to gently slip the needle through the stitches. See how it goes round in a circle. You can't slip the needle out. Well, I can't slip the needle out until I've gone along. I like to know my stitches are secure. But just work along till you get to the end, a few at a time. This is quite a lot. It's not normally as many as this. It's normally 6 or 8. But this is a feature piece of that. When you get to the end, you can take your needle out. Your stitches are there. See how that makes a nice circle? Put that to the back. Now then, you just pull gently, nice and tight. See how that's pretty? You secure it with a couple of stitches. I'm actually going to use this yarn to sew it together, so I'm not going to cast them off. And it makes a really pretty feature. So that's another way of casting off.